next conversation is about ideas to institutions, a founder's journey. Moderating the session is Mainak Chakraborty, an inspiring leader who is making India proud on the global bioenergy map. He's the co-founder and CEO of GPS Renewables, India's leading biofuels technology and engineering company, and an alumnus of IIM Bangalore and NIT Calicut. Mainak has been featured in the MIT Technology Review's list of top Indian innovators under 35 and is a key voice on multiple government bioenergy committees. Mainak, please come onto stage.
Joining him are Mr. Nithin Kamath, the founder and CEO of Zerodha, India's largest stock brokerage firm. He disrupted the financial services industry with a tech-first, consumer-friendly model and continues to lead with a focus on transparency and innovation. His story is a masterclass in itself on bootstrapping and sustainable scale. Along with him, may we invite Mr. Sahil Barua, the MD and CEO of Delhivery, India's largest logistics and supply chain company. Sahil has led the company from a 5-person startup to India's largest fully integrated logistics provider, now a public company serving millions across 18,000 plus PIN codes. Mr. Barua blends strategic insight with operational excellence and continues to redefine supply chain innovation at scale. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our experts for the panel. And on this note, I'd like to remind you, do not forget your QR codes and have your questions ready for our experts. Thank you.
Check, check. Great. Good morning to all. So I'll start off with maybe just setting the context and talking about the format a bit. First and foremost, as far as the theme is concerned, the idea behind this session was to get two of the most respected category-defining entrepreneurs of our generation, Nithin Kamath and Sahil Barua here. One big round of applause once more, please. Now, as we all know, Nithin and Sahil have taken very different paths to scalability. One, as we all know, bootstrapped. The other, by nature, that was a capital-intensive industry. In this session, even though 45 minutes is just too small, too short a duration, the idea is to get some perspective of how their journeys were, if there are any insights, any learnings for everyone in the audience. We'll try our best to carve out as much as possible. So that's the theme. Now, as far as the format is concerned, I'll start off with one or two curated questions. And then the idea is to crowdsource questions from all of you. For that, you'll have to go to the Imbue app. It's app.imbue.com. I assume most of you are already registered. Many of the questions have already been posted there. Some of you have already upvoted many of the questions. So we will keep going towards the most upvoted questions, needless to say. There are a few which have around 20 plus votes, so on. In case you haven't done that yet, you just need to go to the site. You need to log in using the phone number that you had used for registering for Imbue. That's the thing. You'll get an OTP, and that's how you upvote. Also, you can feel free to post questions, and we'll keep upvoting. We have a team who will keep looking out for the upvotes, and on a real-time basis, they'll prompt me which are the most popular questions, and I'll try to do my best to focus on those questions. So that's the format. Now coming to the session, I'll start off with a very basic question for Nithin and Sahil, both of you. The question is, how do you explain what you do to a 7-year-old? I know there is at least one 7-year-old out here, but there could be more. But that's a very simple but tricky question. So while we all of us know what Delhivery and Zerodha does, but it'll be great to hear from the stalwarts.
We move boxes. That's the shortest possible explanation I can give to a 7-year-old, and that's what we give to investors as well, which is we.
Perfect. I think, awesome, Sahil. I think, you keep it simple. I think, 2 words. I mean, fine. That's an interesting way to put it. How about you, Nithin?
I mean, because our business is not as simple as explaining to a 7-year-old. A person needs to understand about profits and companies and maybe say I'm a kid, I'm watching Disney movies, and I see a lot of my friends also watching Disney movies, and I want to buy Disney. How do I No, I mean, it's tough, it's tough to explain because you have to now talk about profits and et cetera, so, but, say, you see a toy from Fun School, and Fun School is MRF, and you decide to buy it, and you see that a lot of your friends are interested in buying it, so you speak to your dad and say, I think this toy will do well, and then you can buy the stock in the stock exchanges through a broker, like someone like us. And why do you choose us? I don't know, because of, I might sound overselling, but because of, philosophy of not doing to the customer which you don't want done unto you, so it's something like that,
Yeah, but it's a tricky one. But thanks, Sahil. I mean, it's a tricky question, but it's. I think the whole idea behind this question was also to hear from all of you, because I think this is a question many entrepreneurs, all of us, always face this, right? How do we explain what do we do to various sets of audience? Moving on, now back to you, Nithin. We all know that you famously, led Zerodha to, the biggest possible scale in a very bootstrap manner. You didn't raise external capital. Having said that, one question, while you have achieved probably all the success any entrepreneur can wish for, do you think that by choosing this path, and not everybody did that in this sector, right? By choosing this path, do you think that you left something on the table? Maybe, I don't know, global scale, more growth, anything that you feel you left?
I know, in terms of growth, we were already kind of hitting 15% of the exchanges, in terms of our derivatives growth. I mean, we got Madhvi sitting here, so, you can't really grow beyond that. And in terms of, the equity AUM, et cetera, as in we are still around 9-10% of the India scale. So we can potentially grow that. In terms of international expansion, I spent a bunch of time around 2019-20. Spent time in the US, et cetera, trying to see if there's a way we can cut, copy, paste the business into other geographies. Right. And the realization was every market is different. The underlying infra is different, and regulations are different, even to the extent that our education initiative would have to be rebuilt. So varsity, which works well in India, wouldn't really work, say someone like in the US. So and then after 3-4 months of spending time, we realized that India is a place to be, and let's just focus on this country. So, and I mean, apart from that, we haven't really compromised on anything, as in, so, no.
So you'd keep it this way? I mean, I guess so. It does make sense to, but yeah, noted. Sahil, other way around, I mean, probably this is a capital-intensive industry. One has to, dilute. Having said that, a lot of younger entrepreneurs, and nowadays, maybe in social media, that comes up a lot. I mean, people seem to have this, this concern about diluting too much, diluting too early. Probably it might be due to, fear of the unknown. Too many influencers out there who probably do not know what they're talking about. But a lot of entrepreneurs today, they seem to have this concern that should we dilute too much too early or not? Even though the sector you simply can't grow in certain sectors without that. What would be your take to such, if any entrepreneur, who's just starting up, is about to start up around dilution and raising, capital if they have to? How do you, if people have concerns, any questions around, any answers around that?
Yeah, I do want to caveat it by saying I've only ever started a company once. So, please take anything I say with a large pinch of salt. At least our view over time has been that capital is a means to an end for certain kinds of businesses. As founders of Delhivery and as a management team, we were perhaps more motivated than we were rich enough to fund the business that we ended up starting, and so we needed to find a way to build what we wanted to. We're in an industry where building a single site can cost us on day one, before we see returns 8 years down the line, $40 million, and we didn't have $40 million to start with. So it made sense to go and raise capital. I think dilution, look, I think from a control standpoint, I think control comes from expertise more than ownership. Beyond a point, if ownership was the only way to control a business, then the reality is most businesses in India that are listed wouldn't exist. So we like to think of it as sort of maintaining control of our business by being every day, hopefully, or every year, better at what we did the previous year than necessarily owning a certain percentage of stock. Our competitors have businesses where promoters own half the stock of the company, but somehow with 1/50th that stake, we're still able to make decisions that sometimes are better. So I don't have a prescriptive answer for entrepreneurs, and I'm always very worried about saying anything that people might mistake for wisdom.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not a good idea to worry about dilution.
Yeah, but I think agreed, and maybe the simple takeaway is that, control comes from expertise, and maybe we are somewhere in between, but I guess any entrepreneur without being prescriptive would feel the same. So noted. So, since again, this was one of the audience questions, control, comes from expertise. We'll keep it that way. Now, moving on. So this is the, so we had around some 10-ish questions or so. This question got the highest number of votes. I think it's directed to both of you. So the question is that, what is that one biggest lesson that you have learned in your journey that you want to share with others? Probably, if it's around some mistakes or so, that'll be great for the audience. So yeah, question goes to both of you. Maybe Sahil, you can go first. Or, yeah.
Yeah, if you'd asked me this, at over 15 years of doing this, if you'd asked me this question every 2 years, I would have given you a different answer, probably, every 2 years. The latest one, sort of the lesson du jour, perhaps, is have fun while doing it, right? We've realized over time that building a business is a pretty sort of lonely and fairly complicated exercise, especially in a country like India. Over the last 15 years, all kinds of things have happened to the business that I run. We wake up every day and things are different, right? One day the currency demonetized, one day we went to war, one day something else happens. And you still have to wake up and deliver packages. You still have to move boxes every day, which in India is hard. The only way that you can sort of maintain the slog outside of, there are obvious lessons like stay fit, don't lose your mind, etc. But the more basic one is if you're not having fun doing the business that you are, then it's really at the end of it. At some point you'll ask yourself the question, why is it worth it? And why do you do it? So maybe have fun.
Sure. Have fun, and unless you're curing cancer or something of that stuff, but yeah, have fun, guys. How about you, Nithin?
The stock market's the only thing I've done through my life. Like, I started trading when I was 17, so whatever, 25 plus years of trading the markets, and I think the learning has been, across this 25, 26 years is, Zerodha started in 2010, but in my head, it started in the late 90s, because that's when I had started trading the markets. And then 12 years went in before Zerodha starting. So that kind of gave a core competency of sorts. And And then Zerodha started. Then it took 6-7 years before we got lucky. So I think the learning has been like to build something around a core competency, and it kind of improves your odds of being successful, and you're building around your core competency also, like what Sahil says, it feels fun,
Yeah.
right? As in, it doesn't feel like like a chore. Like every day is I feel as young as I was back in 2000s. So yeah. So I guess that's the thing.
Sure. So have fun and build around your core competency. That's the answer from Sahil and Nithin. Moving on, the next question which had the second highest number of votes was, in high churn, high fatigue industries, how do you retain talent beyond stock options, cash of course? How do you retain the best folks? And I think both of you have done a remarkable job in that from the little that I know. So what would be your answer to fellow entrepreneurs who are still younger in that journey?
I mean, this high fatigue industries, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we are a high fatigue industry, because like a lot of people think that, at 9:15 we are all glued into our screens, etc. In reality, as in, if you come to our floor, for example, you would not realize that we're a stockbroker because no one is really looking at terminals and etc. So it's not really, it's not the way people think of us as a business.
Is that the case with your competitors as well? Do you think so?
No, as in, it's maybe
So maybe that might be the secret sauce.
Yeah, maybe, because the thing is, in the business, no one is incentivized based on no one is selling anything to our customers. So no one is really incentivized based on transactions or based on market volumes. So and like even myself, I don't look at monthly or quarterly numbers. I mean, I like to smoothen it out. So I look at a weighted moving average of 3 years. I know Sahil will probably curse me on this, but I kind of look at it as a 3-year weighted moving average of all our P&L and revenue numbers, because especially in a broking business, it's very choppy, in terms of revenue. And then every time there is any bit of choppiness, you tend to act. And the more times you act, be it a trader or be it a businessman, you tend to, a lot of time take not the rational and optimal decisions. So I don't think, high fatigue is really a concern. In terms of how do you retain talent, I guess it's got to do with what's the purpose of the business, and are we all as a business sticking to the purpose, as in, like, our purpose is, can we make Indians do better in terms of their money decisions? Like, that's our purpose. Right. And everything that we're working towards is with that purpose in mind. And so I guess, I don't know.
Something very soft, like aligning someone to the purpose, defining the culture.
Yeah, and also the thing is, we are a very small team. Like,
right.
We are maybe 70, 75 people in terms of a core team. And we have 900,000 which are doing support, but the core team is only 70 people. And so, a lot more generated with smaller teams, so you have more to share. So that also kind of adds benefits, I guess.
Sure. How about you, Sahil? How do you manage to keep the initial gang together?
I think I was going to say purpose because that's really the most obvious and correct answer. So I think Nithin's really hit the nail on the head. I also do want to differ that we also don't think logistics is a very high fatigue industry. I don't know where this has come from. I know everyone here is probably a customer to delivery, but and I'm probably putting myself in trouble, but we're a lot more relaxed about your packages than you as customers probably are. But no, I think the only thing I can add outside of purpose is two things that work at delivery. There has to be, and it's what keeps founders as motivated as 15 years later, nobody cares who the founders of a business really are. There's sort of a grand sense of adventure to the whole thing, right? And by that I mean, us as an industry where you can really see the efforts of what you do in physical form, right? When our engineering team got together 12 years ago, they said we are one day going to have to build a facility which looks a certain way, and at that point in time, it sounded quite ludicrous. And we said we're going to have to build a facility that probably is going to be 16 acres under one roof. And everybody said, no, that sounds completely, we'll never have the money, we'll never have the talent, we'll never be able to build the technology to do it. And then 16 years later, you actually do build it and it comes up. And so I think that goes a little bit beyond stock options. But to be clear, in a default world, stock options do win over a bunch of other things. So yes, you have to get compensation right, but after that, purpose and a sense of adventure.
Sounds good. And I think in today's age, when the AI wars are going on, we hear about hundreds of millions of dollars being doled out. It has to be more than money, I think. So purpose is the answer from two of the great entrepreneurs from our generation. Moving on. The next question is directed towards Nithin. As you see, Zerodha has never advertised and still scaled massively. Is that a philosophy or a luxury that the first mover gets to enjoy?
I mean, there was a reason for not advertising, okay? And the reason was, when we started the business, we didn't know this would be the outcome, right? As in, we really were trying to rely on keeping the CAC as low as possible, and the idea was that if you spend on acquiring a customer, the whole business is then wired towards how do we recover that money from the customer, and then everyone in the organization will have to be incentivized on generating revenue from the customer. And like I said earlier, we don't have anyone in the business who's got a revenue target, at the business. So that's a reason why we didn't advertise. And as and when we grew, we maybe kind of lost out on some business because 2020 to 2023 there was this whole huge rush in the market and IPL ads and etc. So probably we lost it, but then we didn't compromise on the philosophy of it. Because I know that a lot of our competitors spend between 1,000 to 2,000 rupees on every customer acquisition, and once a customer gets on board, you're always wired in terms of how do you recover this 1,000 rupees from this customer, and we don't have any of the challenge at all. And for a long time, we were charging an account opening fees. We only removed it last year. So customers for 14 odd years were paying 200 rupees to open an account with us. Right. And so we actually made money on a customer acquisition. Right. And but can a new business be built today with the same philosophy? I don't think so. I mean, if someone were to start today, I don't think, saying that I don't think there's even a point of someone building a transaction-based broker. Probably there's an opportunity to be an advisory-first broker, someone who says, "I'll slow you down, I will," and things like that. An advisory-first broker is what I think the opportunity is.
So the first mover advantage was there, and probably, as you said,
Yeah, everything is in context, right?
But that's as entrepreneurs, that's the whole point, to do something new, something different. Noted. Moving on. Okay, that's again towards Nithin. My point to the Nihar and all would be let's try to spread the questions between both speakers. So next question. Okay, you talk a lot about mental health, yet you lead a high stakes team, which is probably not true as you mentioned, but nonetheless, always on trading business. How do you reconcile a calm company culture with a 9:15 to 3:30 adrenaline-fueled customer base?
No, like I said earlier, as in between 9:15 to 3:30, nothing changes. And how do you keep the calm company culture? It is, it's really, I mean, okay, so for example, we don't have anyone in the, I mean, see, thing is, if you're building business for a really long term, you don't want people to feel burnt out soon. Like it's like it's a cricket team, or and your goal is not to win the next match, but to win matches over the next 10, 15 years. You have to conserve everyone.
It's a marathon or a test match.
Yeah. So, and how do you do it? It's by ensuring there's a calm culture. You know, so for example, we don't, you know, in COVID, we had this policy from that time that no one can, you know, ping someone else on work-related conversation post 5:36 in the evening, or nothing work-related on the weekends. And yeah, and like I said earlier, you know, I don't look at financials every day, every month, etc. So it generally helps, you know, to keep the calm culture going.
Sure. Thanks. Can we move on to the next question, please? Okay, that's for Sahil. Well, if you were to advise your younger IIM Bangalore attending self today, knowing all you know about building Delhivery, what single piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
About navigating
Given
career
that
choice.
you have reached here, probably nothing, or I don't know. Like, is there any advice that you would like to give to your younger self, Sahil?
Navigating career choices. I've only ever had one job for about 2 years, which was at Bain, but I suppose we hire a lot of people. I guess when you're at IIM Bangalore, you tend to think that the world begins and ends with IIM Bangalore. And, you know, when I came as a fresher to campus, and I remember everybody was, I came with my mom, and there was a chap in the line in front of me at orientation, and somebody said, you know, whatever, some Lehman Brothers are not coming to placements this year or something. And my mom was a doctor, and she looked at me and she said, look, what does this mean? You know, and I said, I don't have the faintest idea. I don't really know what Lehman Brothers is. And then you came to day 0 and day 1 and day 2 and whatever, and everybody said, oh my God, I need to get this job. I need to get, you know, whatever, some other job. There were these consulting mock interviews that we used to go to, and I went to the first one, and the mentor said, you're never going to make it to consulting anyway, so you might as well play Sipak, which is what I did. But I guess the long answer, therefore, is that don't worry too much about your career choices. I think we tend to think of a career as a ladder. It tends to not look so much like a ladder at all, right? The logic is I joined as an assistant vice president, became a vice president, and then a senior vice president, or whatever it is. But I think making interesting choices is more important than necessarily trying to get to a predefined outcome. Again, I must say that I have the luxury of saying this because I started a company and immediately designated myself as CEO. So, you know, that kind of helps. But yeah, maybe don't worry so much is the short answer.
Sure. So have fun, be it at work or in the campus. For sure, it's a great campus. I don't know if there are any students out here. But yeah, don't take placements or that. It's serious stuff, but not as seriously as it's made out to be. Moving on, for Nithin, you said wealth doesn't motivate you. So what does? I mean, and probably Sahil, same question. I would pose that question to you as well. I think both of you have made money. I mean, so what motivates you now?
No, I mean, I didn't say this, by the way, you know, so.
Okay. Someone put it out.
Because, you know, the wealth you generate, I mean, it's like a, you know, checkbox, right? As in, you know that you're doing okay in your life if if your wealth keeps increasing. But what you do with it is different. So we intend to give back most of it back to the ecosystem through Rainmatter or Rainmatter Foundation, and all of that's separate. But wealth definitely motivates me. And
But other way around, I mean, both of you have made enough wealth now without being quantitative about it. What now? What motivates both of you? Both of you are young enough. So what? Yeah, what next? What drives you?
No, I mean it's a purpose, right? As in we started this business in 2010 with a certain purpose, and it's evolved over time. But the purpose now is how do you get Indians to do better in terms of money? And that's what gets me motivated, as in, like every day I get up thinking, what can we do better,
Sure.
Yeah, more or less exactly the same thing. I mean, for us, wealth is great, but outside of that, I said this before, we're in an economy, in every other economy in the world, there are logistics companies which are 50 times our size. It's nice to say, and the analysts love it when we say we're India's largest logistics company, etc. But that's in a market which is 200 billion, doesn't mean much when you're about $1 billion in size, right? So what motivates us is really to figure out how to get to that size. I think India deserves several deliveries. Hopefully we'll build one of them. So, yeah.
Next, Sahil. So as an industry leader, Delhivery has access to vast amounts of data. Maybe just we'll twist the question a bit. Like you have access to huge amounts of data. What are the insights that this data has provided about India, about the Indian customer, the broader economy? Anything that you feel worth sharing out here, Sahil?
Me saying that we've got insights from data is risky, right? So let me start off with a slightly lighter one again. The one big insight that we've got from the data that we have on consumers in India is that Indians really, really don't know how to and don't like writing addresses well enough. I think that's very clear. Even today, we had this session before this on identity and all of this, which is all great. Except that Indians still write addresses like, I live in the yellow house next to the temple somewhere in Bhatinda. And the incredible thing that it's given us as an insight is just how creative Indians can be, because somehow our guys are still able to find this chap and deliver a box or a package to them. But on a more serious note, the most unconventional insight that is at the heart of what we do as a business. So this may be a slightly boring answer, so do excuse me. It's a slightly technical answer is, we realized with the vast amounts of data that we'd collected that you could do two things that had, in some senses in our industry, never been done before. The fundamental structure of the Indian economy is just so unique from a logistics standpoint that we realized we could create a network where any point in India could be connected to any other point in India without sort of building this classic hub and spoke kind of network that the FedExes of the world did. So I guess in some senses that was the insight we got from the data that we've had. And I'd say, outside of addresses, the second big insight that at least we've learned is all logistics is fundamentally the same, which is why when you ask me, how do you explain your business to a 7-year-old? We realize that we tend to have all of these rails where we say, the e-commerce express industry, and then there's a freight industry, and there's a warehousing industry, and everything else. And when you look at it from a data standpoint, you realize that we move boxes is more than just how we would explain it to a 7-year-old. So the insight is fundamentally that all of logistics, we were able to do, we think of ourselves more as a company which transacts in the data on the package, and then other people move the packages as opposed to being a hardcore logistics company. So sorry, very technical, long, boring answer, but that's about it.
We do have a lot of questions have come up, from various folks. Not everything has been upvoted. I'll just cherry pick a few of them. One for Nithin. So this is from Sunil. Life is calling sports. His question is that Nithin, thanks for supporting fitness initiatives. Since India lives in our villages, how do you see Fit India theme pan out in the next decade through these initiatives?
I mean, yeah. So I think there's a lot more that India has to do to stay fit. I mean, Sahil, I know runs Ironman and all. So, and but really, the people who are caring about health and fitness is really maybe the top 1-2% of the country. As in, how do you make it more mainstream? Is the question, and especially it helps, especially when the government, etc., is creating some noise around Fit India and stuff like that. So, yeah. So.
Sure. Okay. This I think this should be an interesting one. As aspiring entrepreneurs, one of the most critical decisions we face early on is choosing the right co-founders. In your experience, what should a founder prioritize while selecting a co-founder for the startup? I think your co-founders yours was kind of obvious. You had quite a few co-founders, Sahil, so it'll be great to hear from both of you that, what's your response to this particular question? What should people, prioritize while choosing co-founders? Or keep in mind while choosing co-founders?
This is his brother, man. So
Yeah, I'm saying.
and that's exactly the way I would, even with Delhivery, right? I know we're 5 friends, but we've spent now half our lives together and we've known each other half our lives. Said this before, the greatest privilege of our life is not just building the company, it's the fact that we get to go to work every single day for the last 15 years. I've gone to work with my closest friends, right?
Yeah.
And that's sort of given it more meaning than anything else. So if you're going to pick co-founders, and generally this is considered to be very bad advice. So I do want to point that out. Most people say don't work with your friends and don't work with your family and whatever it is. But I think, picking your closest friends and finding something you're both, or 5 of us in our case, are very passionate about, makes things a lot easier and a lot more fun.
Yeah, and I agree because there's a lot of theory out there. People exactly like a lot of experts, so to say that you should prioritize, you should gamify that, choose co-founders with complementary strategies and whatnot. And here we have 2 examples.
These
right?
experts are usually venture capitalists.
Family and friends, right?
So they're not experts.
No, I mean, in essence, how Zerodha bootstrapped was Nikhil's trading profits for the first 2-3 years, like in 2009, I used to trade the markets, and basically when I had a bad year, and I said, I know this was around election results day on 2009, I still remember, where I decided that I'll stop trading, and because markets bounced up like 20% in a day, and I had some call options which I squared off the previous day. In the frustration, I said, I'll not take a trade. And Nikhil, my younger brother, he continued trading. And a lot of people ask me, how do 2 brothers are co-founders for so long? And the answer is that is in essence all the money decisions he makes. Where we invest, where we trade and all business decisions I make. And we don't really, our paths don't really intersect. And that's kept the business, that's what's got the business up and running, and that's what's keeping it going also.
Sure, thanks. I think in general, from many of the answers that as the audience can figure out, I mean, the answer is about, keeping it simple. Purpose trumps everything else, and I think there's too much theory out there. We should have fun, and we should not complicate things sometimes. I mean, a lot of people end up doing that. Thanks a ton for all these answers. There are a lot of questions around, AI, so maybe I'll choose just one of them. Question to both of you, and probably we have just 2-3 minutes left, so we'll probably wrap up with this. How are Zerodha and Delhivery navigating the AI wave in your businesses, if at all? And how do both of you see your businesses being influenced in the next 2-3 years, or how do you plan to shape it?
Man, I'm going to say something controversial again. Most commercial grade AI that people are using right now is, forgive me for the term, is junk. A large portion of it, all of this, will automate customer service, etc. is sort of the last and worst possible uses for artificial intelligence. I think the two places that we find uses, one is, let me stick to one. The simplest thing that we're trying to do, which is complicated and we're not there, so I don't know if we'll even be able to achieve it, is essentially giving our control towers a sense of, for lack of better word, self-awareness. So the idea is, can we train our systems to self-identify and preventively understand when things are going to go wrong across our network? Can we use external data, specifically things, for example, like weather, to understand what is going to happen downstream to packages, to trucks, to assets, to people through our network? And we are absolutely nowhere close to being able to solve this problem. But if there is a use case for AI in our business, that probably is the most impactful one.
No, I mean, this is a question, that we keep asking,
Right.
because especially, given the market infrastructure in India, the thing is, what is the role of a broker if everyone builds custom platforms and take trades using that, So I guess the role then becomes who's got the best pipes, which connects the whatever AI engine you use to the exchange. And the job is mostly probably going to be that, is going to be offer the best pipes to connect to various programs. And we just launched the Kite Model Context Protocol, which is probably the first step in that journey. And I don't know. I mean, it's really. The things are evolving so fast that you don't know how things will change. So.
Right. Cool. We're almost out of time, so we'll probably wrap up. Firstly, Imbue team, thanks. I think at least I loved the whole interactive app idea. I mean, this was, at least for me, it was a very different kind of session. We had a lot of crowd questions instead of just moving the mic around, etc. So thanks to the Imbue team for the same. Now, as a wrap up, as we all heard, maybe in short, the message from two of the most respected entrepreneurs of our generation was that, guys, keep it simple, enjoy, have fun. I think people often tend up complicating things too much. Purpose trumps everything else. If the purpose is there, if you're having fun, money, everything should follow. At least that seemed to be the message today from both Nithin and Sahil. So thanks, guys. I mean, thanks for your insights. Thanks to all of you for turning up in huge numbers. Thanks, everyone, and we'll move on to the next session. Thank you.
Request you guys to just stay on stage, please. Thank you, Nithin, Sahil, Mainak. We keep racking up these amazing one-liners. Yesterday there was No Zero Day by Saurabh from Habuild. Then there was Trend is Your Friend. Today was Most Commercial Grade AI is Junk. But thanks again, guys. I would now invite Deepu Chandran, PGP 2010, to felicitate the speakers.